What is up, Booger Beans? Welcome back to another episode of Adventures with Boog. On this episode, we are going to be finishing the bathtub surround, hopefully getting all the tile and all that stuff started as well. So, nothing else other than that. Go down, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and let's get some more drywall onto this tub surround. Beans. So all of the drywall is in. Yeah, it went really well. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And we were able to do it with leftover drywall from another project. So it didn't cost us anything to do the drywall here. And we were able to reuse all of it. So that's really awesome. Save some stuff from going to the garbage and save us some money in the long run. You'll notice that we have like kind of 3 sections here. By doing this, A, I didn't have a sheet big enough to do it all in one, but B, it also made it so I could get the top really tight. We were able to scribe it in 3, 4, 5 times and slowly move it up and make it really nice and tight along the top. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. Now what we'll end up doing is we'll mud and tape all of this, then we'll put thin set over top, then we'll put our kerdi, then we'll put thin set, and then we'll put our tiles. But that thin set and the mudding and taping and all that kind of stuff is a big can of worms, and I don't want to get into that until we have a full day to work on it. So right now, I think this is basically where we're going to leave off for until the weekend. We might get in here and cut our kerdi sheets maybe, but this is kind of where we're at until the weekend, where we have a full day on Saturday or Sunday to work on it. But it looks really good. Really happy with it. And yeah, on to the next steps, I guess. Hi, Booger Beans. So it's not the weekend yet, but I am going to start filling some of the holes. We've got the heat in the bus and it's running. I've got this dust away drywall filler. This is the stuff that, again, was used on another project, so it didn't cost us anything. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start by filling all of the screw holes, and then I'll tape all the seams. I've never really done this before. I've done little bits and pieces here and there, but I've never done it totally on my own. So we'll see how that goes. I'm probably going to get my dad to help me with the tiles and the mudding and taping down the road on the more difficult portion and that kind of stuff, but the screws are pretty easy to fill, so let's get that done. We got the second coat of mud on the walls here. It looks not great. It's definitely getting done. I'm not a professional drywaller, not a professional mudder and taper, but you know, it's going to be covered. It just needs to be able to fill the hole so that we can sand it and put our thin set on it. But while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to start doing all the tiling on our fireplace here. So our tiles are a little bit of a weird shape because they are hexagons, which means the angles are 60 degrees. And this guy is 45 and those guys are 90. So it's a little bit weird. But what we're going to do is we're going to line up the tiles with the front edge of the fireplace area, because it's the longest edge and it looks the cleanest. So that's kind of how we're going to do it. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to completely dry fit everything. So all the cuts, all the like spacers, everything are going to be fully dry fit. And then after, we will clean up any issues that we have. Because the thing is, once you start working with the thin set and all that kind of stuff, you don't want to have much time waiting around and hanging out. So you want to make sure that it's all ready to go, and then once we have it all cut and prepped, then we can just what's it called? Just install them with the thin set and good to go. So yeah, let's get to it. So we got all of the tiles dry fit. So every tile is cut and ready to go. Now all we have to do is we have to plane off this edge a little bit just because the plywood is a little bit above the surface of the tiles. And then we'll start putting it in, really.
It looks so good.
I'm
so excited.
It used a lot less tile than we thought. We used a box and a half. And all the waste that we have of all of it is this little bit. So it was a really, really efficient way of putting tiles in here. These corner cuts were able to be out of one tile. And same with those guys in the back there. It was all one tile. So I don't know if we just got lucky on how it measured or what it was, but it worked really, really well.
It's really nice.
Just these two little ones are a little awkward. But other than that, it's really good. So now we're going to plane this off. Then we're going to kind of take some of the tiles off and put them down. And then we'll work from those tiles. Because we need like a base point to make sure it all
fits together
and fits in here. Now once we thin set them, it doesn't dry instantly. So you can kind of move them a little bit. But you don't want to move them more than you have to. So yeah, we're going to get a planer, plane this off, and then we'll get to thin setting these tiles. Alright guys, so we are just about ready to start putting concrete in the bottom of our tub and the bottom of our sink. So what we're doing to prepare for that is we took the metal putty knife and we scratched all the bottom as best we could, make sure that's super clean. And we're going to take a damp cloth, wipe it down, dry it, and then take the damp cloth again and damp it down. That helps the concrete adhere to the steel and adhere to the bucket and all the area that it's attaching to. Right now our floor is pretty flat, and the drain actually sticks above the floor of the steel. So what we have to do is build up a sloped floor into the drain, and then we'll be putting tiles just like we did on the fireplace area before. And we're going to end up doing the exact same thing kind of in the sink. There'll be a lot less concrete as in the tub, but we're going to do a similar finish. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I think it's time to get to it. So let's do it up. Sun coming in makes it look really orange. Alright beans, so the concrete is in the bottom of the bathtub and we're just waiting for that to cure. It takes anywhere from like 4 days up to like 4 weeks to cure concrete. So we're gonna leave it for 3 or 4 days. It's starting to gray up, which means it's like it doesn't look as green anymore. But if you touch the surface, you can still feel that there's a bit of moisture in there. So we gotta wait till that moisture's out before we can put any thin set down or anything like that. So now we're gonna start moving on to the kerdi. So this kerdi is our waterproofing membrane between the drywall and the tub surround and all that kind of stuff. So what happens is we cut this guy all to shape first, and then we'll put thin set on the wall, and then we'll mush the kerdi into that thin set, and then we'll put thin set, and then we'll put the tiles on top of that. Just so you guys know, this surround for our bathtub is mostly just so that if it gets splashed with water, it doesn't have any issues. If we were to put the wainscoting or plywood or something like that to finish the wall, if it got splashed with water, it might swell over time. So this is not a waterproof surround or anything like that. We'll actually have a curtain that goes all the way around the top of the tub, and that's what will be doing the main portion of our waterproofing. Besides that, the rest is just mostly for splashes or condensation, that kind of stuff. So we aren't looking for 100% waterproof or 100% watertight like you would if you were doing a tub surround with tile, or shower surround. This is mostly just like a backsplash kind of thing. So let's get to cutting this guy. It says it's 54 square feet, and I think that's more than enough to do what we have to do. So yeah, let's get to it and see what happens. Alright, Beans, so we got our first piece of kerdi cut, and the wall is all prepped and ready to go. So now what we do is we're going to take this sponge in here, and you want this to be a very dry sponge, just barely moist. Now we're going to take this and we're going to wipe down the surface of the wall, and this just helps the thin set bite in to the drywall. And by doing this, it just helps that thin set really set and actually bite into the drywall, because you don't want to have layers of thin set. You really want it to be one solid piece with the tile on it. Otherwise, down the road, you might run into issues with it falling off the wall, which, I'll be honest with you, I'm already a little worried about. Again, I'm not a professional at this, so I'm just doing the best that I can do with what I know. So that's what we got there. Now for kerdi, we have to use something called thin set, unmodified thin set. So you don't want any crack preventers, any polyurethanes, anything like that, any silicones, nothing like that. You just want unmodified, pre-mixed thin set. Now what we're going to do, put a layer on the wall, then we'll stick our kerdi to it, and then we'll smooth it all down using the rubber smoothers. So let's give her a go. Right by your side, a body to rescue your mind. Just somebody, I'm the one to find when you need someone to rescue your mind. With all your colors, surrounded, all up in your zone, I am surrounded. Alright, Beans, so we are ready to start with the grout for the fireplace. So the kerdi on the bathtub is all up. It seems to be okay. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it seems to be pretty good. So we have sanded grout that we're going to be using for the fireplace. We're using sanded grout because it's a bit stronger. On the bathtub, we also have unsanded grout because some of our gaps on our accent tile are too small to use sanded grout. So in those locations, we'll be using unsanded grout. So this stuff calls for 2 liters of water, for the entire bag. But obviously this entire bag is going to do way too much. This will do more than everything we have right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a ½ liter in here. Then we're going to mix it until it's like a thick milkshake kind of consistency. And we have to mix it for 5 minutes straight. Then we let it stand for 10 minutes. Then we mix it up again without adding any more water. And then we'll go and head out to the bus and get it installed. So just a reminder again, I'm not professional at doing this. This is my first time ever doing a tile job. I've done a couple tile jobs with my dad in the past, but this is the first time doing one kind of on my own and using his tips as we go. So we're going to start by putting in a ½ liter of water into our bucket. I have a little bit of extra water just in case I put in too much mix. You always want to put your water in first so the mix doesn't stick into the corners of the bucket. So now we should be able to just pop this guy out here. Open it up. Going to want to mix about a quarter of this bag into here. Now we got our float right here. So now we're just going to cover basically all the tiles, pushing it into all the crevices. The big thing you want to do is you don't want to like squish it right along the crevice. You always want to come at every crack kind of at an angle so that you don't pick up the grout that you just put in there. So you want to try and always come at different angles and just cover basically all the tile with the grout. So at the beginning here, you're not doing anything fancy, just trying to basically cover all the tile. There. So we mixed up way too much grout, but she's all in there. Now what we do is we wait about 10 minutes. Actually, I think it's 20 minutes. Yeah, wait 10 to 20 minutes. I'll check the box or the bag. But then we come back with a damp sponge and we wipe that all down and clean it up. And then we'll be ready, or then it'll basically be ready to sit there and dry overnight. So yeah, let's just hang out for a little bit and then we'll get that done. So now we've waited 20 minutes. Now what we're gonna do, whew, that water's hot. We're gonna take our grout sponge, and it's quite dry. You don't want it to be very wet. And we're just going over the surface, cleaning up the grout. Okay? Again, you're trying to go at 45 degrees to the grout lines if you can. And you're just cleaning them up. You just want to make them nice and smooth. Don't want too much water on there. Keep your sponge pretty clean, pretty dry. Then after we do this one, we're going to come back in 2 hours and we're going to clean it up one more time. Alright guys, so the grout is all done. this tile is basically finished. It needs to sit for about 2 days again to fully cure this grout and make sure it's nice and hard. Our kerdi and thinset and all that stuff over here is hardening up. I've been doing some more research and stuff, and some people are saying wait up to 7 days before you put any new tiles or anything like that on there. It is supposed to hold immediately, but because it's a vapor barrier, the thinset behind it can take a really, really long time to cure. So in our case, it's not super warm in the bus. It's like 15 to 20 degrees in here all the time, so it's not too bad. But in our case, I just want to make sure that is as solid as it can be. So we're going to wait on that. That's going to be on next episode. We're going to be wrapping that up. We've also got the front guy here finished up in the house. We've got the trim finished and being painted right now. But again, that's all going to be on the next episode. On the next episode, hopefully our couches will be getting wrapped up. Sydney's hopefully going to start painting in the bus here. There's some portions that can be painted. This whole front portion can be painted. This can all be finished and painted. The bathroom can be finished and painted. The back part by the bed can all be finished and painted. So lots of those things are starting to wrap up and starting to close up and finish out the bus here. So we're getting really, really close. We just got to keep on trucking, keep on moving on, and get this build done. So if you guys enjoyed the episode, go down, hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you always know when we upload a video. Yeah, just sorry about any B-roll that's not really there. I'm still trying to get back into building videos and stuff, and trying to get an even balance between spending time building videos and actually finishing our bus. Because although over the last year or so this channel has really turned into a Skoolie building channel, that's not our goal. Our goal is to really be out there traveling, camping, fishing, canoeing, paddleboarding, mountain climbing, rock climbing, all that kind of stuff. That's our real goal. And after almost a year of really putting a lot of that stuff on the back burner, it's time to get this bus done and get on the road. So if you guys believe that's a good thing to do, hit that like button. Also, check out our Instagram lives, Cocktail Fridays. We do that on Instagram Live every single week, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Throughout the month of February, we are doing Mocktail Friday. So we are actually doing non-alcoholic drinks, and we're donating $50 per Instagram Live to the Canadian Cancer Society to support their Dry February initiative. So if you guys like that, head over to our Instagram, 7 p.m. Friday nights for Mocktail Friday. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night.